Hello and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. Hello, I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today's going to be a great day. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for recognizing the importance of taking care of yourself. So critical. I cannot say this enough. You are out there taking care of everyone else, and I honor you and I thank you. And thank you for leading your team, and thank you for nurturing your patients and dedicating to taking care of them. But above everything, I want to celebrate you for recognizing the importance of taking care of yourself. And just by being here, listening to this podcast, I know that that's something you value. And you've begun to recognize in your life that when you take care of yourself, when you take that radical personal responsibility for your own happiness, really good things start to happen around you. Am I right? Have you started to witness that? Have you started to notice, oh my gosh, the people around me are different? I'm beginning to notice people on my team are gaining in self-worth and self-confidence. I've noticed a shift in my spouse, noticed a shift in my dad. Have you noticed that as you're working on your own well-being, the people around you thrive? And not just that, but you start feeling more motivated in life. And maybe now is the time when you start clicking back into those dreams and aspirations you once had. Oh, that beautiful desire that you've put on the back shelf for some time now, and you've thought, oh, I could never, I'm not good enough, oh, I don't have the time. And maybe you even witnessed it in other people. I love this. They call this mirror neurons. When you see something in someone and you're like, oh my God, I want that. I want to be like that. That's exactly my dream life. I remember feeling this way about women who ran retreats for other women. I mean, I thought about this about business owners in the beginning before I had my first practice. And then I thought about it around women who had an orthodontic practice that only worked 3 days a week. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, she's amazing, but I could never do that. And there was even a lot of comparison that I used to create for myself. Sure, it's easy for her. She can do it because of XYZ. Or, of course, she's running retreats. She's done it for so many years, and she started before it got difficult, and she's got a name for herself, and she's got a following. I had all these reasons why I could never. That language, I could never, or it would never be something I could do. And what's really interesting, a couple years ago, as I was speaking to my coach, by the way, even coaches have coaches. Yes, indeed. We value the perspective of a third party, of having someone help us see something that's beyond our perspective. You know, sometimes when you're just in it, it's so difficult to see beyond it. A friend of mine says it's like when you're inside the wine bottle, you can't read the label. Right? It's nice to just have someone to reflect it off of. And even right now, this weekend, I have a coaching friend of mine who the two of us bring, our own situations to one another all the time. And it's so beneficial to have that perspective outside of you that's non-judgmental. And I was talking to my coach about this compare and despair and seeing something out there and thinking, that's not for me, but oh, I would love to, or she's already done that. There's already 3 orthodontists in this community. I could never. That's a big one in dentistry, isn't it? Whenever we're thinking about starting a practice or moving into an area, we're like, oh, it's oversaturated. That's a big word that everybody uses. It's oversaturated, meaning there's not enough population to sustain all the dentists in this neighborhood. And I used to feel that way about coaching, about running retreats. I thought, oh, the community's so oversaturated with retreats nowadays. Nobody wants to hear another retreat. And my coach said to me, Tarryn, that's just proof of concept. And I'd love to give you this gift today. Instead of seeing everything out there as limitations of why you can't, why it's never available to you, what if when you recognize something you really want to experience in someone else, you said to yourself, that is proof of concept. that is proof that it works. She just proved it, and that means I can too. So let's be clear for a moment. I'm going to talk about the J word, jealousy, envy, the E word. And, if we're really honest with ourselves, that starts to rear its ugly head when we're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do something like she's doing, but I could never. And when we start to feel that, we immediately start to suppress it because it doesn't feel so nice. But if we're really honest with ourselves, envy or jealousy doesn't come about when you see something that someone has and you already have it. Right? You don't feel envious if you are running an orthodontic practice and someone else is running an orthodontic practice. You're like, oh, I see you. We both got the thing. It also doesn't show up when you see something someone has and you don't really want it. That's true for me with multiple practices. I tried that once. I had 2 offices and I thought, whew, this is too much. So if I were to see someone who has 5, 6 practices in several different states, good for you, babe. Keep shining. 0 envy on my part. It's also not something you experience when you see something someone has and you can just pick it up for yourself, right? We don't feel envy or jealousy when we're like, oh, she, put a purple sign on her window. Oh, I can just go buy myself a purple sign. I know when this happened to me in practice. You remember those really cool, they're like tickers that tell you how many social media followers you have? They change in real time. So every time you get a new follower, it ticks back to the next number. I saw that in an office once and I was like, brilliant idea. And I went and I got one. 0 feelings of jealousy or envy. I just went and got one for myself. And I share with you when jealousy and envy does not show up because it helps us identify that uncomfortable feeling when it does show up, and then we get to alchemize it. We get to turn it into something else, if you're willing. Jealousy or envy shows up when we see something someone else has or is doing that we think is not possible for me. That's when we feel the jealousy or the envy. Am I right? Just reflect on it for a moment. Think of the last time you looked at someone and you're like, damn it, she's doing so well. I wish I could. And what's really underlying that is a sneaky feeling that it's actually not possible for you. And this is so good to be aware of. This is such an important growth moment because we tend to fixate on the thing itself and not the feeling of jealousy or envy that's lying underneath. Really, that's the source of discomfort. It isn't the thing. It isn't ever the thing. It's not the money. It's not the fame. It's not the notoriety. It's not the clicker. Because all of those things eventually wear off. You go and you get the thing and then it's like, woohoo, it's great for a day and then it wears off after a while. Even that new car smell eventually wears off. It's not the thing. It's the jealousy underneath that deserves the attention, the feeling of not being good enough, or the feeling of helplessness or hopelessness. And that feeling is one of the most difficult to navigate. It's exactly why you need to sit down and figure it out, be with the discomfort, understand. It's also why when we bring it to our spouses and they try to fix it, it doesn't feel good. Like, oh, just go out and start a practice, right? They try to give you all the reasons and the steps to get what you want to get, and it doesn't feel good. It's like, no, just listen to me. I want to tell you why I'm frustrated. And they say, but Tarryn, you could just start your own podcast. Okay, so I'm referring to an experience before I started my podcast. This was in 2019. I was I wanted to so badly, and I was listening to podcasts and they sounded amazing, and man, they sounded so professional. I was feeling so good and inspired when I listened to them, and I thought, gosh, the dental world, women in dentistry need a resource they can go to. I wish I could do that, but there's no way. And I would sit with Killy and I was like, These are all the 105 reasons why I would never be good enough to do this. But look at this woman. She did it in veterinary sciences. Or look at this woman. She's just starting a thing. And Killian said to me, Tarryn, it's easy. Just start recording. Let me bring you some lights. And he got me actually the lights I'm sitting here with today. They're the photography lights Killian gave me years ago. And he wanted to just make it simple for me. But this is why that doesn't help. Because it wasn't about the thing. It was about the feeling of helplessness and hopelessness underneath it. That's the core of what I needed healing on. Because just giving you the advice on how to take the steps forward isn't good enough. And this is why coaching is so valuable. Because coaches, really skilled coaches, can recognize it's not the thing. It's the feeling underneath. It's a feeling underneath of helplessness and hopelessness. It's that second part of there she is doing it, and it's not available to me. So we get to ask ourselves two very valuable questions, and I thought in this episode I would share them with you. Because anytime you notice yourself experiencing this sense of jealousy or envy, there's two very good questions you can ask yourself to help identify and heal and alchemize that feeling into empowerment. So here's the first question. Why do I want this? That is a very important question because it actually exposes the emotional weight of it, number one. Meaning it tells you how important this really is. My daughter was saying, oh, that girl, I don't know if you guys have heard of Faboo-boos. Am I saying it right? Labubu's, excuse me. Not Faboo-boos, Labubu's. And Nula was saying to me, oh, I really want that Labubu. And I said, okay, let's talk about it. Why do you really want it? And she realized, oh, actually, I don't really want it. I just kind of think it's cool and I want to be cool. We begin to understand the emotional weight underneath it. Why is it important to you? And you might actually realize when I think about it, it's not actually what I want. It's what that represents. It's what I think that'll make me feel. And that's an important realization because then you get to put that down. You get to identify what you really want underneath. This happened last summer with my husband. Oh my gosh, he suddenly got the gimmies around everything he wanted. He wanted this and he wanted that. And he wanted an EV car and a pool and a sauna and a hot tub. And we kept going. The list kept going. And I said, whoa, what is going on here, babe? Why do you want these things? And we recognized he'd just gotten to a point in his oral surgery career where the day-to-day had become a little bit easy. And he was needing some excitement in his life. And wow, when we identified that, it was the excitement that he was looking for. It was a little bit of, that adrenaline rush. We realized, oh, none of these material things are going to provide that for you. We got to address this need. That, by the way, was when he decided to become a volunteer fireman. So that added the adrenaline rush for him. And yes, now my husband is a volunteer firefighter in our community and he loves it. Loves it. Hello, incredible woman dental business owner. If you have been craving more freedom, more joy, and more ease, then this interruption in your podcast episode is meant for you. And so is the Empowered Owner Retreat happening this November 13 through 16 at the stunning Diplomat Resort in Hollywood, Florida. This isn't just another conference, it's an intimate, transformational experience where we step away from the demands of your practice and the stresses of home and finally breathe, reset, and more importantly, reimagine what's possible. We'll redesign your business model so that it supports your life vision, not the other way around. You'll walk away with practical, tactical tools to reclaim your time, to lead your team with confidence, and be done with all the staffing drama and stress, to build a business that gives you more space and time, more peace, without having to hustle harder. It's an exclusive small group retreat and the spaces are almost gone. I honestly don't know if I'm ever going to be doing this again. So this is truly a once in a lifetime opportunity. So if this speaks to you, schedule a time to chat with me. It's invite only, but I'd love to meet you and see if this is something that can serve you in your life and your business. So click on the link in the show notes or visit www.thebizofhappiness.com to learn more. Your time is now. So that first question is, why do I want this? Now, remember when I said we don't get jealous or envious around something we see that someone has that we already have? Or we don't get jealous or envious around something someone has, but you don't really want it. Or the third one is something someone has or is experiencing, and you know you can just go get it. None of those instill envy. It's when you see something someone is doing or has that we think isn't possible for us. So the very important second question after why do I want this is, why do I think I can't have it? Big, beautiful question. Why is this so important? Because it shows you where you have limiting beliefs that are holding you back. These are deep-seated beliefs about yourself. What you do and don't believe you're capable of, you're worthy of, is available to you in your life. And in order to alchemize all of these feelings of jealousy, envy, insecurity, you get to identify what is that belief. And you get to turn it around and start, here's the important part, practicing the belief that you are good enough and that there is enough to go around. Boom. Two very important beliefs. One, that you are worthy of it, that you are good enough, that you are deserving of it. And two, that there is enough to go around. And this is where that idea of proof of concept comes back around into our conversation. If someone else has done it, if someone else is out there doing the thing you wish you could be doing, living the life you want to live, that is proof of concept. That means it's possible. So you start practicing that instead of, oh, she's done that and exhausted that opportunity. There is only one person like her that could ever exist, and there's no more room for me. No, it's proof of concept. It is possible. Not all the resources have been used up, not this satiated economy that we keep talking about in dentistry. That is such a myth. The saturation of the community. Please do not allow yourself to fall prey to that limited thinking, that scarcity mindset. There is enough to go around for everyone. And you are worthy, because that is the second belief you start practicing, that you are worthy of it. First, the proof of concept. Second, the self-validation that needs to step in. And let me offer you some small steps of feeling that validation and that worthiness. And these are the beliefs you can start practicing. Now, before I give them to you, just notice I say practicing the belief. It's a practice. All a belief is a thought you keep thinking. That's true. You might have been practicing a thought, I'm not good enough, for so long that it feels real, it feels true. But there is nothing further from the truth. There is no one out there who is not good enough for anything, anything your heart's desire. You are good enough. And all you need to do is start literally practicing the thought, I am good enough, which turns into the belief. And it's a practice, just like you've been practicing the opposite. So here are some suggested belief practices, and then you substitute the verbiage that works best for your situation. It's possible that I'm better than I think. It's possible that I could be a podcaster. It's possible. Just notice how that shifts your energy to one of slightly more empowerment and a little away from that disempowerment where you don't even get off the couch and try. It's possible that I could learn to be a podcaster. Ooh, isn't that interesting? Especially as women dentists, we are so good at learning. We love our ability to learn. We really value that. So it's possible that I could learn how to run retreats. How about this one? It's possible that I do deserve to take a break. Oh, there's another moment of envy, right? I was talking to this woman at a recent orthodontic conference, and she said to me, you know what I do now? I work for 6 weeks, and then I take 6 weeks off. True story. She works for 6 weeks, and then she takes 6 weeks off. And then she works for 6 weeks, and then she takes 6 weeks off. And I thought, oh my gosh, might I have been envious of this incredible woman way back when I was practicing ortho. It is possible that I deserve to take 6 weeks off, would have been the thought I would have needed to practice. It is possible that I deserve it, especially when I noticed that insecurity, that helplessness and hopelessness that underneath the question of, what do I believe is telling me that I can't have this? What am I thinking that tells me I can't have this? And I'm sure it would have been around, you don't deserve it. So that thought of, it's possible that I deserve to take 6 weeks off. It's possible that I don't need to be experienced or know anything about this to get started. What? Because that's another thought that we often think is, I don't know anything about podcasting. I don't know anything about running retreats. It's possible that I don't need to know anything. What a great thought to practice. And then another one that I love to use is, I am willing to believe. I'm willing to believe that I could. I'm willing to believe that it's possible. I'm willing to believe that I might try. I'm willing to believe that I am good enough. And I love that one because I'm always willing to believe. I'm willing to believe it is possible. So just to kind of summarize this episode, the reason why I really wanted to bring this to you is I think there's so many of the incredible women that I work with every week who have such beautiful desires, who have really big things to bring to this world and really impactful messages to deliver and impactful practices and support. We need it now more than ever. When things feel dark and heavy out there, and we think, oh, I could never. Who am I to be able? Please, this is my siren song asking you to believe in yourself, because more than ever, we need good people who care about other people to say yes to their dreams, no matter how small. I don't care if you have dreamt of having a paint bar where you teach people to paint. We need you. I don't care if you've dreamt of opening an ortho practice or opening a pediatric dental practice, or you've dreamt of closing yours so that you can spend more time with your kids. We need you. Your desires have purpose. And more than ever, I would say in the recorded history of mankind, we need incredibly heartfelt women to stand up and say yes to their dreams and create that impact of inclusion, of love, of service, of kindness from a place of self-empowerment. That's what we need. Can you imagine if every woman on this earth stood up and said, you know what? I am good enough to go after my dreams. What? Can you imagine how we would shift the trajectory, not only of our country, but of our whole world? If we could take every woman's voice and say, yes, I am capable, and yes, I am deserving. Because that envy and that jealousy might just be an opening instead of self-shaming about it. Let's use it as proof of concept. It is possible. And what you're desiring has purpose. It does. Maybe even greater than you even understand. And more than anything, right now, we need women to follow their dreams. So once again, thank you for listening to this podcast episode, because if you've listened this far in, it means it's resonating. It means there's something in your life that you've thought about, that you've been envious of, that you have looked at somebody else and thought, my gosh, I would love to, but I could never. Use this episode, please, as a turning point, as permission to ask yourself those two very critical questions. Number one, why do I want this? It might surprise you. And number two, why do I think I can't have this? And heal those two very core wounds for yourself. And notice the empowerment, the deservency, the confidence, the creativity, the inspiration, the thrill of being alive that follows. Because when you feel good, you know, here it comes, that's when you can do good. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Business of Happiness podcast. If this episode brought you new perspective and value, I invite you to subscribe so that you catch all upcoming episodes and leave us a review. And if you know of a friend or colleague who could benefit from this perspective, share this episode with them and empower their day. For more information about the Business of Happiness and the Radical Happiness for Practitioners course, find me on www.thebizofhappiness.com. See you there.